tonight on Debate Amongst Friends. Some NFL recap. I'm going to go over Week 7, NBA tip-off, and a little coverage of some MLB. Got the World Series, as well as some old playoff news starting now.
Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, welcome to Debates Among Friends, live on Mixlr. Like us on our Facebook page and at our Twitter handle at Debates Among Friends. Tonight is the 25th edition of this podcast. We're glad you decided to I am your master, and always here prepared to provide.
They talk Illuminati, but it's really about consumption. Worse being consumers, corporations create production. Special interest code name for government corruption. That's why I'm on the microphone causing these eruptions.
Doc Rivers, as my voice comes back to life. We're going back to Doc Land.
Well, let's get ourselves started. And as the old saying goes, I'm ready, friend.
Let's do it, Bobby.
Well, before we can get ourselves into it, we have ourselves a special guest. We was able to successfully bar him for the building for a couple of weeks, but we finally decided, you know what? We need this guy to come back. The hate mail came in. I had a stone thrown through my window and everything, but he's here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. It is Senior October.
Yeah, October.
Good evening, everybody. How's everyone doing?
Finally, Senior October has come back to Debate Among Friends.
I see someone's fired up and ready to go tonight.
My God. Welcome
that's
back,
what I like to
October.
hear.
It's already November. It's already
Hilarious.
November.
Hilarious.
Where's October been? That's what the people have been talking about. They've been yelling at us. Where went October? It's November. October is gone.
Well, I always aim to please my fans, so let's get this party rolling.
All right, let's jump straight into
so we
it.
got some
Week 7 of the NFL has just concluded.
Is there anything stick out to you? Anything jump out right off the top there? Any games caught your eye?
There are several games that I fell asleep on because it was that bad.
I can agree with you on that. I had the esteemed pleasure. I had the privilege, of being at home Sunday afternoon, watching the Jets versus the Ravens. And can I just say, I washed clothes. I literally went to do my laundry.
I didn't even wake up for the Rams-Giants game.
I don't think anybody did, actually. There was a young lady at my job said it was just too early for her. I mean, and, I know how diehard those Giants fans are. But
I think we have a Giants fan with us tonight, actually.
Yeah, but I mean...
I caught the tail end of it. Listen, it was early, but I managed to catch the second half.
And a lot of people are pretty... unhappy with the lackluster performance. I mean, the Giants kind of struggled against the Rams of all teams. What in the world, October?
Rams plus.
Listen. It's a work in progress. It's been a work in progress since week 1. And as the Giants love to do, as the diehard Giants fans out there know, the Giants they'll reward you, but they'll make you earn it. They will make you suffer. They will make you stress. They will make you sweat. So it was par for the course.
And I mean, it's so terrible because they had that big those big acquisitions in the offseason, and I just feel like things haven't panned out. But the NFC, as normal, playing pretty tough. Really, everybody's pretty much a game or two away from each other. I think the Redskins might have blown their second place standing. But I think everything's still wide open in the NFC East, kind of like history has always been for the NFC East. I think when the NFC East is good, football is typically good, as well as the AFC East. Unfortunately, the Jets just won their first game against the Baltimore Ravens. But we had some controversy. I wanted to go over that. Ryan Fitzpatrick pulled a. I don't even know what to call it.
It's the damnedest thing.
It's driving me nuts because here we were. Gino goes down. I sent a message to Meta. I know he's one of the Jets writers. I said, "Hey Meta, this is pretty classless of Ryan Fitzpatrick. You wait till Gino goes down, who managed the game, the entire game. It wasn't Gino, it wasn't Ryan, it was really Matt Forte who carried the team the entire game. He ran the ball like 26 times, and then he goes after the game and blasts everybody, saying that he should be the starter, he should have been the starter, and he should be the starter for the rest of the Jets' future. And I'm like, dude, did you not see your stats? Did you not see your performance?
Didn't he throw like 4 interceptions his last game?
It wasn't politics that got him benched. It was performance.
Hey.
But this is who he is, though. We saw this with the contract holdout. He's his own biggest fan. He reads his own press clippings, and he always thinks that he's being singled out. It's like Oliver Twist. Like he always feels like he's not getting his, and it was just what. To be honest with you, I expected nothing less from Fitzpatrick. Don't get me wrong, I was shocked, but it really falls in line with, since he's been with the Jets, the kind of guy he is.
I don't think he's that good of a quarterback, honestly. And when you got somebody like Brandon Marshall on your as your wide receiver, even Jay Cutler.
We're gonna go to Jay Cutler in a minute, actually. But Brandon Marshall and Eric Decker, I mean, they're not scrubs. They're not.
Well, Decker's out. Decker's out right now, so I know this Sunday Decker's been out. I think he's out for the season now. They do have some really good guys out there. Owusu, I think his name is. He's pretty good. I think he's a former Buck, if I'm not mistaken. They're always almost former Bucks. All the former Bucks go to the AFC East and do a heck of a job for the Patriots usually. And now the Jets have Austin Jenkins, exactly, Blunt. A lot of these old Tampa Bay Buccaneer players, Aqib Talib, they go on to have these luxurious careers, and we always wind up picking up the pieces of our faces. But speaking of picking up the pieces of our faces, you mentioned Jay Cutler. Interesting enough, we talked about Jay Cutler last week, saying he was a bust and how we shouldn't see him starting. Well, unfortunately, as we mentioned, Brian Hoyer playing. Now Brian Hoyer is out for a couple of weeks, and we're gonna have Jay Cutler again.
Starting again, and his comments today was particularly interesting, and I'll paraphrase it basically. He basically told the media, so you don't have anyone else. I'm all you got.
And that's terrible. I wouldn't want that. He would be the first person to be traded. I literally would probably go and sign Johnny Manziel.
Oh my goodness, he went there.
Just call Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow from baseball. We're gonna go get Jesse Palmer.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I don't care, because what's the point here?
I mean,
now the one thing I saw today,
I would rather have Jamarcus Russell as my quarterback for the Chicago Bears than Jay Cutler.
Wow.
At Stephen A. Smith.
That's so terrible. But speaking now, the one thing about the Bears that I found very interesting. Now, I saw trade reports today that had inklings to the Eagles looking to trade for Alshon Jeffrey.
Yep.
As well as I just saw the Bucks looking to trade for Alshon Jeffrey, and I think Torrey Smith is in play as well. I think that, well, first and foremost, the Bucks get Alshon Jeffrey, just stamp 11 wins on us, okay? Because that's exactly what's going to happen.
Now is that a Dr. Reed or a Bucks?
Yeah, we get Alshon Jeffrey, slap 11 wins on us, okay? Wow. Take that to the bank. But the Bears, they would get
comment on that statement real quick.
Sorry, you guys were cutting out. You might want to just bring that back.
I said, if Alshon Jeffrey goes to the Bucks, 11 wins.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going with it. 11 wins.
Is that a little hometown bias I hear, or home team bias, I should say?
He says
No, I mean, if
hashtag
that's
Doc has reads.
I mean, when you think about it, though, like, we have veteran Vincent Jackson. Don't get me wrong, love Vincent Jackson. I think he's a great player still. Probably not going to get the $10 million that he normally would get. Coming off of 2 injuries back to back seasons. If he does come back, it'll probably be really, really discounted, $5-6 million a year kind of thing. But if we go out and get Alshon Jeffrey, just forget about it. If we get Alshon Jeffrey and we have Mike Evans on the other side with some of them other guys, 11 wins.
Wow.
I'm not mad at it. I think it's a little optimistic, but
it's always optimistic.
I was gonna say far-fetched, but yes, optimistic is a better word.
See, far-fetched is not, because I mean, number one, we're 3-3, having a great season. I don't see us not being able to win the rest of our games the way we're playing. But that's, of course, if we get Alshon Jeffrey. Offensively, we'll be able to score as much as any other team in this league. We would step it up defensively, of course. But Alshon Jeffrey, Mike Evans, I can't see 2 corners that could stop that.
Listen, it'd be hard to argue. I think 11 wins may be a bit much. I think I may give you 8 or 9, but if you're going for the full 11, I mean,
11. Of course, I'm going 11.
Listen, I'll tell you one thing. With Buccaneers fans, you guys are the eternal optimists. I will give you that.
No choice. But speaking of optimists, and speaking of potentially going too far, do we think the Bills are going too far at the helm?
Oh. I don't know. I think he's, it seemed early on he looked like he was going to wear out his welcome, and it seemed like his antics were going to wear thin, as eventually they wore thin, with the Jets. But he's doing his thing with the Bills. You know what I mean?
I mean, is he really? I mean, they've been blowing it.
They've been blowing it, yeah. But I mean, at least he keeps them relevant.
Relevant means wins.
I mean, it depends on how you define the definition of it.
Yeah, but speaking of wins, I think it's time we move on from NFL Week 7, being that it was a big snoozer, and we get into some real winning sports, in which we had the Cleveland Indians take Game 1. But being that we didn't get Senior October for the duration and full duration of October, give us a recap. Were you disappointed in any teams leading up to the World Series?
I was disappointed in the Nationals. I really thought the Nationals this was gonna be the year that they finally put it together, but it just seems every year they'll make the playoffs, and you're waiting for that big push. You're waiting for that big that stretch run that they're gonna take with the horses that they got, but they just didn't happen. The Dodgers, this just seems to be their thing. They'll make it to the NLCS, and then they can't close the deal.
Sounds like the Los Angeles Clippers.
Yeah, it's a very good analogy.
That's pretty good. That's good.
But to be honest, I think the Cubs out of the National League, I think they were my World Series pick to begin with. They were the best team in baseball all year, 103 wins.
I believe you're right. We can go to the tapes.
Say that again?
I believe you're right. We can go to the tapes.
And then you got the Indians, and they very quietly, just made their way through the American League. I mean, they got there at the end, and Kluber last night was masterful. I mean, for the playoffs to go through, I mean, there was really the Red Sox were a shocker. The Red Sox being knocked out, that was a shocker. But then once Cleveland finished with them, I pretty much thought Cleveland would make it this far.
Absolutely.
But Kluber last night, I mean, he was masterful. I mean, he had the Cubs hitters guessing wrong every time. I can't tell you how many knees I saw buckle last night with his slider. His slider was absolutely devastating last night.
Gotcha. And right now, just to give a quick update, bottom of the second, the Cubs are up 1-0. Um, so it's still pretty early in that particular game. Of course, I've always been. I mean, I don't really follow baseball. I know we should follow baseball more, and I think I told the professor this off the podcast. But of course, that's why we have Senor October to join the show.
Is our resident baseball expert.
But I did love the Indians. I actually just had a conversation with one of my coworkers about those old Indians. Like I said, the Kenny Loftons, the Manny Ramirez's, the Tomies, etc. And I just felt like at that time, I mean, baseball was easier to follow. I lost it somehow. But at this time, I always feel like it's one of those situations where baseball comes to life, so to speak.
Well, this is the time of year that really diehard baseball fans live for. I mean, it's a 162 game season, and I think that's, to be honest with you, I mean, you have the diehard baseball fan, but I think the casual sports fan, because the season is so long and because the games will run about 2.5 to 3 hours, I think the casual fan feels like they could kind of like dip in, follow early on, see who really starts up, and then the dog days of summer is when your diehards really hang around your casual fan. You'll lose kind of your casual fans. They may go to a game here and there. They may watch a game on TV. But the dog days of summer, those are where the teams really separate themselves, because obviously it's the hottest months of the year. So the teams that, aside from their talent, the teams that can really handle the environment, they're the ones that are really begin to separate themselves. And then obviously everybody lives for October, because that's when those 162 games, that's when they all begin to mean something.
Absolutely. I completely agree.
And you hear this all the time. You'll hear this all the time because you'll hear people say about baseball, oh my God, why does the season have to be so long? It's 162 games. Well, yeah, but guess what? On the last day of the season, when there's a game separating going to the playoffs and not, it does matter. And you get and listen, I give Major League Baseball plenty of credit. These one-game playoffs for the wild card have been absolutely exciting. It is gut-wrenching if you're a fan of the team that is in the one-game playoff, because literally 162 games come down to one day, and not a series. Obviously, that is typical in baseball, but they have been great for the game, I feel. These because it used to be the wild card, teams would just kind of coast. They would think, okay, if I don't win the division, I win the wild card, I'll just still get in. Now it puts a premium on, listen, you want to win the division, because if you don't win your division, you end up as a wild card, you're playing basically a 50-50 game.
Right, absolutely. But I mean, this is pretty magical, though, and I was really excited because it's an opportunity to see two different teams play for a championship, and that's the one thing I do like about baseball. Outside of the overall, again, the magic of the playoffs and the World Series, the opportunity to see two different teams, it's kind of hard to put in perspective. Like, in NFL, you're always going to get, like, one of the major teams that's going to make it, and then you'll have that Cinderella, possibly. But in the NFL, the order of powers, the power ranking teams typically fall in line. You get the Patriots, you get the Steelers, you get the Seahawks now, you got the Cardinals, the Panthers are down, this team is up, the Vikings are up, so it's the order is always right. The order is always kind of up, centered around specific teams. Basketball, you got the Cavs down, you got the Warriors, you got the Thunder, you got the Rockets, you got all these teams here, and it's like these teams should make it to that either playoffs or second round of the playoffs, possibly conference finals. But in baseball, I feel like it's always kind of wide open, because you never know who's going to have that magical pitching season, that magical pitching game, who's going to be doing great hitting wise. You just never know. The coaching decisions are a lot bigger in baseball. Who sits, who starts, and I always found that to be pretty interesting about.
I agree with you in baseball. I mean, as a Yankee fan, I can speak to this. Growing up in the '90s, it always felt like it was the Yankees, the Braves, the Mariners. It was always the same teams, and
Right.
baseball got knocked on for a while because they said there was no parity. You could spend a lot of money and you could dominate like the Yankees did, but with revenue sharing and this new playoff format, it really has opened it up because I mean, you have teams now where the game has changed and teams have changed with it. I mean, you have Joe Madden that implements the shift with the steroids and the PEDs being cracked down. All of a sudden, you're seeing pitching come to the fore. But now, something actually very interesting during the playoffs, home runs and offense have actually been up for the first time in a while. So this whole thing where pitching was dominating for almost the last decade, now it's kind of in flux. I think that's the great thing about baseball. You know, you could go back decades and read articles about the demise of baseball. Baseball is at its time. It's wearing itself out. It's not a modern game. And there's a reason this game has been going on since 1869. There's a reason. You know, it does endure and it does evolve. But speaking to what you were talking about, the Cubs are the perfect example. I mean, yes, were the Cubs the most dominant team this year? Yes, but they still have to overcome their demons. Which, if there's any franchise that has demons, and if there's any franchise that is due for a championship in any sport, maybe outside of the Premier League with Leicester City this past year, it is the Chicago Cubs. You know, if you think about it, these are both teams that many people have not seen in the World Series in many years. The last time the Indians won the World Series was '97 against the Marlins, and they lost.
Right.
And the last time they won a World Series was 1948. The last time the Cubs won a World Series was 1945. And fun fact, the last time the Cubs won the World Series, sliced bread had just been invented in 1908. So the Cubs being in the World Series is literally the best thing since sliced bread.
I see what you did there.
I did not come up with I did not come up with that, but I did think it was pretty good. But you're right, baseball has given us that. I mean, look at the Red Sox. After 86 years, they finally figured out a way to break the curse of the Bambino. You know, you have a team like the Marlins, where they had their own system of winning a World Series, demolishing their team for 10 years, and rebuilding it and getting to the playoffs again. And baseball separates itself from the other sports because when you do go up there, it is just you and the pitcher or you and the batter. It is a team sport, but the big moments come down to a contest between two individuals.
Absolutely.
And that is what makes baseball unique. But listen, this is exciting. The Cubs are my pick, and I was actually out last night watching the game. I was at a local bar here in my hometown, and mind you, we're in New Jersey, but everybody was rooting for the Cubs. And the cool thing is the Indians are kind of relishing their role as
the heels.
As the team. As the team nobody wants to win because everybody's sympathetic to the Cubs. They're like, listen, Cleveland, you just won a championship for the first time in X amount of years. You know, you don't need to have two in 1 year. Let the Cubs, you know, everybody's basically saying this has to be the Cubs' year.
I'm not buying it. I mean, I really want the Indians to win. I really wanted them to bring out Vaughn. I thought that would have been great. Give me Vaughn. Wild thing. I really wanted it.
Yes,
I was hoping for that.
Facebook about that. The doctor was
all
over
listen,
Facebook.
Give me Vaughn.
I would love to see the on-demand rentals of Major League in the month of October right now because if I'm an Indians fan, that is what is inspiring me.
Give me Vaughn. Oh, it's not the Wild thing.
I mean,
he's not really here.
Oh boy.
Oh my God, he's here. He's here.
Oh my God.
The Wild thing. It's Vaughn.
Willie Mays Hayes here.
And I don't try to steal home without my American Express card. Don't steal home without.
But this is exciting. I mean,
but
this is great baseball right now.
Absolutely. I can't wait to see what's going to happen later on in this World Series, actually. But speaking of people wanting to embrace their hero role, the Cavaliers celebrated their championship last night.
Indeed, they did.
You see what I did there, Doctor? You see
Yes,
Yes,
it's all connected.
Yep. The dots have been connected.
And my New York Knicks lost pretty badly. I will first say this. We didn't show up in the second half. The doctor mentioned earlier, the Knicks always give the Cavaliers trouble in the first half, but the first half only. I'm a embracer of defense first, offense second kind of mindset. That's the way that I like to play the game. That's the way that I coach as well too. And for my Knicks, we got a lot of work to do. I mean, offensively, I think we pretty good studs. I mean, Derrick Rose came up with 17. Melo got 19. KP got 16. We're not talking about Kevin Durant. We're not talking about Kevin Durant. The bench did all right, but they're the only three who had, double figures scoring. Courtney Lee got us 0, and Joakim Noah, basically did nothing for us. Thank you for just wasting the space. But once again, it's only the first game. I think we're going to bounce back on Saturday.
Nobody's tripping. I mean, all right. So last year when the Knicks played the Cavaliers, I'm looking at 4 games in particular. Looks like there was a November 4th, November 13th, December 23rd, and then it looks like there's a March 26th. Nothing too crazy on March 26th, mid-season, going later on in the season. They did get a 20-point win, but everything else is relatively close, 10 points or less. So it's not that there's a talent gap. Yes, we know LeBron James, we know, greatest player to ever think about lacing a shoe.
Don't start that argument, sir. I've already debunked that. I debunked
we know. Got the best hairline in the business. We know. He's going to do Space Jam 2. We know, guys. Those LeBron maniacs are out there running wild on everyone. But
is that what they're calling themselves now? LeBron maniacs?
Yeah,
that's what we call them.
That's what we call them, the LeBron maniacs, because they're not Cavaliers fans.
They're not.
They're LeBron fans, but they co-ride the team that LeBron is on.
Whatever team LeBron's on,
instead of them just saying, "Hey, I'm a LeBron James fan," whatever team he's on, I'm rooting for him because I want him to win. That's acceptable.
Yeah.
But to sit there and say, "Oh, I've been a Heat fan for the longest," and then turn around and say, "Oh, I'm a Cavaliers for the longest," that's kind of why I went on that 45-minute rant during that one finals.
And to be honest with you, you never saw people say, "Hey, I'm a Washington Wizards fan or a Bullets fan."
Exactly.
When it was Wizards, actually, when Michael went to the Wizards, it just didn't happen, And I know it was later on in his career; it probably didn't mean anything, but it's like, guys, get it together. Seriously, just give it a rest. You're a LeBron James fan, and there's nothing wrong with that. And again, disclaimer, little asterisk here. We do not hate or advocate hating on LeBron James. That's not what we do here. We don't hate on LeBron. We just feel like there are certain things that he does and gets away with that has diminished a part of the game.
Absolutely. Thank you for saying that.
I agree. That is a very well thought out and said statement.
So, with the kickoff here, the tip off here of the NBA season.
Wait, are you talking about Bruce Bowens?
Don't you go there? Go there.
For those that don't know, Bruce Bowens is famous or infamous for a flying kick to Wally Zerbiak.
Don't you dare go there. Don't do it.
He's a little too free with his feet.
Yeah, don't you do it. But, we did have the Knicks versus the Cavs. But we also had some... I don't even know which way we should go with this, because... And I guess I'm going to just go out there and say it. I'm just going to go out there and say it.
Let's rip off the Band-Aid. Let's talk about
let's just roll the Band-Aid.
The biggest... And I'm using air quotes. Biggest...
Charles? No, I just got to say it, man. I just got to say it.
Go for it.
All right. 2 things. Someone on Facebook said... Before I ripped the Band-Aid off on that one, somebody did say that Kenny Smith said that he saw that the Knicks were going to be the 4th seed in the East. And I wanted to get your quick take on that before I ripped the Band-Aid off on Charles Barkley.
Hashtag Professor got reads.
You're going with the 4th seed?
Yeah.
I'm thinking more 5, 6.
I'm okay with their 5 or 6.
That's what
They're
I'm
not gonna
thinking.
be the
5 or
8th
6.
seed.
I was thinking 6 seed.
I'm
I
thinking
thought the
5,
Knicks
6.
6 seed. I was thinking the same way before the season started.
But even with Derrick Rose, it's like, I mean, they're going to be a good team. There's no doubt about it. The bench has come together. Didn't get a chance to see it yesterday, but from the highlights as well as the professor posting the halftime picture where the Knicks were up shows that they have some skill.
No,
They
we
just
were
have
down
to.
by 4.
It looked like you guys are up, but I
Down by
mean,
4.
even being down by 4,
Once
it
again,
looks like the Knicks
problem
have some
is
skill.
the problem is that 2 of our 5 starting people didn't score a point, and our defense, while in the first half was good, was abysmal in the second half, and it was mainly because they kept trying to trap LeBron James, and they're leaving open 3-point shots everywhere. Then Kyrie Irving decided to go and decide he wants to play NBA Street.
Yeah, I was pretty disappointed in Joakim Noah.
Also become And1's very own hot sauce.
But that's what he does, though. I mean, I was pretty just disappointed in Joakim Noah. At least not. And I don't know if KP went out there and grabbed all the boards. Maybe that was a mistake on my part, taking him in DraftKings. Shout out to DraftKings.
He only got 8.
But you said KP only got 8 rebounds?
Yep.
So who the heck grabbed all the rebounds? Because it surely wasn't Noah.
Everyone else was getting rebounds.
So
KP
that's probably where...
Carmelo got 5. D-Rose got 3. Courtney Lee got 3. Joakim Noah got 6. And
so that's probably where you guys lost the game, because I'm sure if we were to look at Cleveland's stats, they must have out-rebounded you.
LeBron James got 11. Kevin Love got 12.
Oh yeah, they had to have out-rebounded you because just looking at the stats, it's like I'm looking at my DraftKings and I'm like, well, dang, Noah, I get not scoring more than 8 points. Hey, I'm completely okay with that, but you can give me 10 boards.
Noah only got 3 assists.
Well, I don't really care about assists. He's a center. I mean, I want him to grab rebounds. I'm okay with that too. I mean,
Derrick Rose got a block.
It's easier to get a block sometimes as a guard, and it probably wasn't even really a block.
Doesn't really matter. I mean,
speaking of
new age.
But I mean, speaking of blocking,
Charles Barkley, go for it. Charles
Barkley put in the most ridiculous statement out, which I think, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know if Klay Thompson must have listened to Charles Barkley right before the game because he wasn't really playing that well yesterday at all.
Uh-oh.
Charles Barkley says, and I quote, "After LeBron James, Klay Thompson is the NBA's second best player."
Oh, so basically it was reverse psychology. So like whenever the professor
dumb
says,
psychology.
Well, remember, I mean, I said, Luol Deng is a bum because every time I see him shoot, they always hit bricks, and then he decides to go off. Same concept, but in reverse fashion.
Oh, this is completely different because, like I said, last night Klay Thompson played like he was the 45th player in this league.
Yeah.
Not second, not even close to second.
I mean, does it help that he was in foul trouble?
He looked like Harrison Barnes out there.
Oh, God. Oh.
Wow.
Professor.
The Base Among Friends is brought to you tonight by Stella Artois.
He looked like Harrison Barnes out there. Maybe he's taking Harrison Barnes' place.
Ouch. I mean, he was the 4th leading scorer. Kevin Durant got 27. Steph Curry got 26. I mean, granted, what really hurt Golden State last night was all the turnovers.
Well, can I just say this? And I said this earlier, and I said I was going to mention this, but the Spurs played this game like a team that was not afraid. I'm not afraid to take a stand. I mean, they were not afraid of the big bad Warriors who came to blow down their house. They huffed and they puffed, and the Spurs dunked on JaVale McGee.
And I was just about to ask you, what is your thoughts, and Mr. October, you can also chime in as well, too. What is your thoughts on Jonathan Simmons? I mean, I caught a little bit of the highlights before he went to the Spurs, and he went to the University of Houston.
Right.
I mean, he was a baller. He just never gotten the chance. Now he's getting the chance. He is just shining right now.
Well, the Spurs,
20 points, 1 big block, 3 assists. I mean,
the Spurs, Greg Pop, like Bill Belichick and others like them, who are really good at building teams and selecting players. A unique skill set.
Yep.
For a team, a GM and a coach, as well as scouts, to come together and say, hey, here's our scheme. Here's the grand scheme. We need people who can fit into this scheme. And not too many people do it better than Greg Pop and their general manager there.
I agree.
Completely agree. I would say that if I wanted to play professional basketball in the NBA, I would love for my coach to be Greg Popovich.
Why not? Why not? They went in there, and I think people forget, and it's not just LaMarcus Aldridge. LaMarcus Aldridge is just okay, but they did sign Paul Gasol. I'm not sure how Paul did yesterday, but people really forget. I see
Paul
all this.
Only had 2 points, no blocks, 1 assist, 4 rebounds.
Did he start or did Simmons start? Is the question.
Paul Gasol started. He only played 15 minutes though.
Must be still getting acclimated to the season. You know how
exactly.
Greg likes to rest he needs to rest the old guys, so he lets the young guys play, and that's okay because this is where the big boys play. So
the biggest thing, and it's one of my favorite players now, and you heard me talk about him since he was in college. Kawhi Leonard exploded out for 35 points.
That's where I was about to go with my statement here. I think that the league really, because all I've heard so far is, LeBron's going to win the MVP. Westbrook's going to win the MVP.
Sleeping on Kawhi Leonard.
I think people are sleeping on Kawhi. Of course, I think people are sleeping on James Harden as well. I'm just going to little plug that in there.
There's no Houston Rockets. They didn't play last night. Stop it.
They're about to start 2 hours. Can't wait. On ESPN, you should check it out. Shout out to ESPN for showing the Rockets on TV.
Go to sleep. Go to sleep, everyone.
No GTS. No GTS. That's some Styles Clash-ish right there.
Oh my goodness.
But Kawhi Leonard is underrated. I really think that he needs to get more credit. I think that the post-Duncan era has begun, and its name is now Leonard.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful, man.
I know.
Okay, that's enough of that.
Okay.
But let's look at this. I'm gonna tell you his stats. Kawhi Leonard got 35 points. He only committed 1 personal foul the whole game, by the way. Mm-hmm. No blocks. He got 5 steals. 5 steals, 3 assists. He was a perfect 15 for 15 from the free throw line. That's just incredible.
That is incredible. That is actually really impressive. You can't knock that.
Mind you, he basically played a old school basketball game because he didn't make a single 3-point shot, and he was 10 for 21 on the floor and still got 35 points. Come on, that's insane. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Like I said, I've always thought he was a good player. He's gotten better and better. A part of me wants to know, and it's funny, and I'll go back to this conversation in a second. It's funny because I was actually speaking with some of the ladies at the job, and the one thing that came up was RG3, Robert Griffin III's braids, and I said I really think his braids are holding him back. His braids are really ruining his career. I think if he switches to a fade, he might be able to play in the NFL. I'm trying to think if maybe Kawhi one day cuts the braids off, and kind of goes fade. But his game is not being affected by his look, and I think he's one of the premier players in this league. Not to quote some political jargon here, but Kawhi's got the look and the stamina to be an NBA MVP.
Did you really just go there, Doctor?
Yeah, he went there.
I did. The look and the stamina to go MVP.
Thank you very much for tuning in tonight, Mr. October. Always a pleasure to have you on.
But speaking, I'm just
We're
saying.
gonna
But
have to cut the
speaking
show early.
oh God, it wasn't even
Chris,
that
we're calling it
bad.
early.
But speaking,
Chris, we're calling the show early tonight, Chris. Thank you.
oh my God, please. But speaking of, so moving
don't
on
bring up
here, I won't. Of course, we need to build a wall around the NBA to make sure that these players don't get out. Because then we would just have a leak of exponential talent, and we don't want that. Got to keep them all in house.
Absolutely.
But speaking of talent here, I know we were going to go over, although the season started yesterday, ESPN released the ranking from one, all the way down here. I know we were going to go over the top 8 here, so I'm going to run down the list here, starting with number 8, and you just let me know what your initial thoughts are, starting with the Boston.
Celtics definitely on the rise. A lot of talent, a lot of firepower. Isaiah Thomas is a stud. Can light up the scoreboard. Him and Avery Bradley still have to find a way to coexist. I know one analyst was talking about, and I love analysts, by the way.
Of course.
Was talking about Isaiah Thomas doing more off-ball guard than actually playing the floor general. But I think they're just missing a piece. I don't know what that piece is. Honestly, I don't think it was Al Horford, who I am on record saying that he's not a top 5 big man.
What if it was R.J. Hunter, who got CM Punk'd 2 days ago? We called him out, of course, and told them, "Hey, don't be CM Punking people."
Yes.
Firing them on their big day, firing them on their big days, whether it be wedding or birthday, it shows no class. Have some class, man.
No class.
All right, so this is a big debate here earlier. I was on Facebook here, some of my Facebook friends here. The number 7 team, the Atlanta Hawks,
who just re-signed, what's his name, to
Schroeder.
$70 million. Yep, Schroeder to a $70 million contract.
So here's the thing. So the debate was really about the Knicks. The guy said, "Hey, Kenny Swift said Knicks are going to be 4 seed." One person said, "What was he smoking? Is he crazy? The Knicks are going to be 7th or 8th seed." Somebody else came in and said, "Name me 7 teams that are better, 6 teams that are better than the Knicks," and one of those teams was Atlanta. Actually, Atlanta and Boston actually were both the teams that were mentioned. And I said I wasn't sure about Atlanta and Boston, but more importantly, I definitely wasn't, and I'm still not overly impressed with the Atlanta Hawks. Dwight, I think, doesn't give them the offensive presence that Al Horford gave them. And even though you don't think Al Horford is a 60-minute man out there on the court, he's definitely better than Dwight Howard.
Once again, I mean, offensively, absolutely. I mean, if you want an offensive center that can get you, 15 to 25 points a game, by all means, I would love it. But for me, when I think of top 5 big men, I'm thinking of both sides of the floor. And Dwight's not like that either.
He's not.
He was like that.
He might get a couple blocks or 2.
Anymore.
I mean, was he really? I mean, or did he just really dunk on the league? And we just took. We dunked on the league, and we took it for, man, that guy's a great scorer. But he really never was a great scorer, and he tricked me thinking that he would be a great superstar to team up with James Harden. And I'm like, oh, man, now it's like buyer's remorse. Should have just kept Omer Asik and Jeremy Lin.
And the thing is, with centers in this, with centers in this league now, you have to be able to play both sides of the ball. You can't just post yourself up under the net, get fed the ball and dunk it. You have to be able to get back on defense and be athletic. And I'll make a shout out to my own team, my Brooklyn Nets with Brook Lopez. He's quiet.
They're nowhere near this top 8.
Uh-oh.
He's no. I know they're not. Listen. I got no illusions.
I don't know. They're really far away.
I mean, FYI, Senior October, Brook Lopez is on my top 5.
I was just about to say that he is one of the top centers in the league. He has done it quietly, probably with not as much fanfare because he's on the Nets, but
he was injured too. His injuries.
You're right. And the funny thing is, when he first came into the league, he did not get injured. I think he played like 3 or 4 years without missing a game, and then all of a sudden the injuries just started to pile up out of nowhere.
Yeah. But speaking of piling up out of nowhere,
hilarious.
The number 6 team, who I think is going to pile on some additional wins this year, and pretty shocking to be number 6, the Oklahoma City Thunder.
I think, and we mentioned this a lot of times on the show and off the podcast as well too. I think the league need to be put on watch because a thunderous storm named Russell Westbrook is going to rain down his fury.
I agree with that. I really think that he's going to go out and try to destroy everything in his path. I think I told the professor, because I'm really excited to get NBA 2K17. I saw some guys who was actually simulating seasons.
Whoa, wait. We can't promote the video game because they're not paying us.
I'm not promoting the video game. I'm promoting the guy who was actually doing this. And I'm really... So, he was simulating seasons, and Russell Westbrook actually wound up averaging a triple-double, basically, winning the MVP on one of the years. And it was just like, wow, I really think that's one of those things that could be real, you know what I mean? Because he really, really puts up those numbers. And when Durant's not there, which he's not there permanently now, who else can take over and be a triple-double machine more like Russell Westbrook?
Well, think about it. When KD was gone, Russell Westbrook did average a triple-double during those spans whenever KD was injured. So it's not too surprising. One of the biggest gripes against Russell Westbrook is the fact that they say that he shoots too many shots. But whenever I watch him play without KD there, he's doing a lot of one of my favorite kind of passes, drop-off passes to the big man. It's Steve Nash-esque. The way that he's doing it, because the defense have to respect the fact that he can finish it either strong or lightly off the backboard, teardrop it, floater. He has an array of different moves to finish, to put points on the board, that they have to respect it. And because they respect it, and I don't mean respect.
Respect.
It gives more opportunities for the big man to get points. Ernest Cantor, who is now coming into his own with that offense now.
True.
And they don't have that bum Deion Waiters anymore.
This is true. Speaking of respect, of course, not to downplay anything you just said, but I know we're starting to get low on time, so let's move through this list here. Respect. We have to respect the number 5 team and what they were able to do last year in the playoffs. The Toronto Raptors. Number 5, do you think they can repeat their performance?
I mean, their backcourt is still, highly regarded as one of the best in the East. So, I mean, it's not like they don't have anything holding them back.
I really like Valanciunas.
It's more or less
I do too.
That 3-4 spot for me.
Yeah, I guess I could see that. I don't think they've solidified the 4 yet. It would have been nice to see them go out and get somebody to get into that 3 and 4 spot. I know they have Terrence Ross out there, but I think, they have DeMar Carroll too, who's a good defensive player,
but not a good offensive player.
And I think that's where they kind of struggle. But speaking of struggling here, which I'm having a really hard time, and I'm really struggling on this number 4. Maybe you guys can help me out here. The Cleveland Cavaliers.
I think that was someone who's biased against the Cavaliers.
Yeah,
that's all I gotta say about that. Moving on.
I don't know.
You're saying Mark Stein from ESPN. You're saying should we challenge him to a duel?
Absolutely.
We'll have to go out there and find him. Okay. Well, we're going to keep on rolling then. We're not even going to touch the Cavs because Mark Stein has a vendetta against them. But the 3 teams that are ahead of him, out of all 3, the most shocking and unbelievable are the LA Clippers.
Okay, so you know how I just previously stated that there was some bias against the Cavaliers?
Mm-hmm.
Massive bias for the Clippers. They have done nothing.
Yeah, I mean,
positively nothing. Their
Maybe
preseason
they think
games,
Chris
they
Paul's
got
gonna come back.
destroyed.
Maybe they
No,
think
no.
Chris Paul's gonna come back and destroy everyone.
And I get
No.
that, and I
No.
understand that.
No.
However, they've done nothing to get
Lob
better.
City. Lob City.
No, those balls got deflated. Like,
And then finally, the last two are last night's opponents, the San Antonio Spurs at
Mark
number
Stein
2.
Plez. You know what? Hold on.
Plez.
Mark
San
Stein,
Antonio
you get the
Spurs at number
Plez. You get the
2.
Plez of the day.
San Antonio Spurs at number 2, and the Golden State Warriors at number 1.
Shocker.
That's not
Shocker
really
for number
too
1.
shocking at all. I mean, people are right now predicting the Golden State Warriors to win the NBA championship.
I am being
Where-
heavily sarcastic.
Where I can see that, but at the same time, for me, it's too early. Like, they have yet to really gel yet.
Right.
Let's wait a month. Let's see how they do, the first 20 games. And then we can start, trying to hand them the trophy. Right now, it's too soon. It's too soon. I mean, if you want to hear about the most complete team, I mean, I hate saying it, but Cleveland is 1. Not number 1, but 1. And the Spurs are 2. I would put the Spurs over the Cavaliers any day of the week.
Actually, you want to know something? You want to know something? I hate this right now. I might have actually been looking at the wrong page on that particular one here. You were right, my friend. The Cavs are number 1, Golden State number 2, Spurs number 3, then the Clippers. Then the Clippers.
That's still terrible.
Yeah, the Clippers still shouldn't be that high.
Celtics number 5, Raptors number 6, Thunder 7, Pacers number 8.
See, the Pacers are definitely rising again. I mean, PG-13
Yes, the Pacers.
He is going to shock the world. Don't be surprised if he's in MVP talks this year as well, too.
That's true. That's true. And that was my error, ladies and gentlemen. But, I mean, I think it was still the same players, just a different order there. Still got a chance to go over some great teams, hear some comedy, hear the professor go off on Mark Stein for no apparent reason now.
Mark Stein, Mark Stein, you are now invited to join us at the debate table. And let's hear about why you think the LA Clippers are number 4. Get out of here. Come on, man.
Well, speaking of getting out of here, I know it's almost time for us to roll. We got a great song for tonight. But before we play that song, October, Professor, any closing last second words?
Hashtag Professor John Gotti arrives ... in 2 days.
He's here. He's here. He's on his way. October.
I'm going to say Marty McFly was a year early with the Cubs winning the World Series, and I think the Cubs will win the World Series, and Chicago will party like it's 1908.
You thought the Cubbies were going to win the World Series. I would have put money on it. I would have went back. What did you say? What did you say? I said, who knew the Cubbies were going to win? I would have went back and put money on it. Oh, that's great.
Go.
Shots to October. But tonight's song here, and of course my closing words, of course, please thank you so much for continuing to listen to us as we continue to grow 25 episodes in. Nothing but fun, peace, and love, as the professor always says. But tonight we have a gem of a track here that we found here from Poldor, featuring A1 and Def Low, called Angel Dust. A really, really great track. I hope you guys enjoy it. Professor?
Thank you very much for tuning us tonight. I am Professor John Gotti.
And I am the Doctor.
And we'll catch
And
you
I
again
am
next
Mr. October.
You just had to get that in there. And we'll see you again next time. Peace and love.
Roll credits.
They talk Illuminati, but it's really about consumption. Worse being consumers, corporations create production. Special interest code name for government corruption. That's why I'm on the microphone causing these eruptions. 48 laws of power, I read the seduction. Bioluminescence shining bright is just my function. The last mortal man in technology added. function. Artificial intelligence replace the heart that's pumping. Drones flying low, nano mics in your system. Kids of the millennials are the real victims. The prophecy in art with nostalgic futurism. Decode the higher language before your mind is in prison. The new world order is societies we live in. Truly globalization, and all the list was written. Fear not what you see, but the truth they keep it hidden. How the average man today is more corporate dependent. That's why we lost in the angel dust. I swear to God, somebody need to pray for us. If I shoot, that means somebody made me bust. Since I'm intelligent, I'm armed and I'm dangerous. That's why we lost in the angel dust. I swear to God, somebody need to pray for us. If I shoot, that means somebody made me bust. Since I'm intelligent, I'm armed and I'm dangerous.
There's a war in this world and ain't no siding. No place is safe and ain't no hiding. Can't run from it, you confront it. A death comes 1,000 times, but ain't no dying. Ain't no trying to get smart for men with bitch parts. Whenever that feminine it starts, any with heart are willing to shed blood. At the same time killing them, willing to spread love. Filling this fed up, it's Philip killing his leg up. Seymour killing these kids, filling my head up. The true monopoly, mind, soul, and body that you call Illuminati, really not defined properly. My philosophy, if it's 1 eye watching me, they calling it democracy. I know it really not to be. They plot written sloppily, not a part of prophecy. It wouldn't be a shock to me. They try to put a shot at me.
That's why we lost in the angel dust. I swear to God, somebody need to pray for us. If I shoot, that means somebody made me bust.